Could you explain the reasoning behind the cornerback rotation you went through on Sunday?
Greg Maben, over the last few weeks, has been doing an excellent job with his practice habits, being deliberate, and he earned the right to at least be part of the rotation with playing time. So that was more of a testament to Maben and what he's been showing at practice and going through his reps than it is an indictment on anybody else in that DB room.
What did he show in the game, Greg Maben? What did Greg Maben show in the game?
Great intent, everything he showed in practice, great physicality, competitive toughness, communication skills. He did play very well in the game. He gave up one, but it was well contested.
Where are you at in terms of making a decision as to whether or not one guy deserves that spot for the majority or all of the snaps?
Really looking for one of them to grab hold of it and just have a stranglehold on it and not let it go. When you get your opportunities in this league, never leave doubt. That's all the way across the board. Own your job. Do your job exactly the way it's being taught, exactly the way it needs to be done, and take it personal that every rep needs to be 100% in both technique and assignment. So it's a challenge to the entire defense to grab your job by the neck and choke it out.
So you're still going through that then Sunday? We shouldn't expect just one guy to have that nailed down?
Absolutely. Same thing.
It seemed that Greg came on really strong last year when you put him in against Houston. Did that calf strain of his really mess up, kind of the plan to get him involved in December?
Yeah, he was. It was the same thing that happened last year. His intent, his practice habits, his competitive toughness, all that stuff. It led to him having a chance to get some more playing time towards the end of the year, and it's unfortunate that the calf strain happened. So,
Robert, there was a Chargers drive late in the first quarter where Solomon was covering Gates, and then the touchdown where Gates was wide open. Can you just walk us through those two plays? I don't know if the Solomon thing was a bust but just what happened on those two plays.
So I'll start with Solomon. We went into the game with a game plan to try to be very, very aggressive with Phillip, and when you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And we had three zone pressure. We call it a zone pressure, and there were three of them before the Solomon play happened. Ronnie Blair was in coverage on three different occasions. Once on Gates, once on a wide receiver, and the first three were on third down where we got off the field on all three of them. And then the play with Solomon happened. I still feel like he should have been in. He had if he gave himself a chance with technique, he would have been in better shape. But it's never ideal. You need somebody to come home. It's obviously you're trying to run an overload pressure, and anytime you pressure, you're leaving something open. You're trying to gain something. You're giving something to gain something, and they caught us. And so that was the Solomon play. As far as the Gates play in the end zone, lack of communication, and that's very, very frustrating. Very frustrating as a group, both coaches and players. It's got to get. Those are the things that we've got to take personal because that should not have happened. I'm not going to get in straight detail on what should have happened schematically, but for that to happen is unacceptable at all levels.
Did that play lead to the decision at the particular time to bring Maben in?
No. Maben, we went into the game with Maben planning to get him reps. So.
Did Ruben missing all that time in spring, has that been hurting the defense where maybe from the communication aspect or assignment purposes?
One of the more underrated things that happen, and it's happening throughout the team. It's a team game. It's a team effect. So when you lose players on defense and people are in and out of the lineup, the biggest thing that hurts is the communication part of it. And communication from a defensive standpoint is critical to this to your ability to have success. And when you're looking at the linebacker standpoint, at the combination of Fred and Brock, then Fred and Elijah, then Fred and Ruben, Fred and Malcolm, the communication part of it, even though they are comfortable with each other, they're not battle tested together. Same thing at the back end level when the safeties, when the linebackers are used to hearing Tart and now it's Exum, it's DJ Reed, it's that combination. There needs to be continuity in there, and so it's a trickle-down effect. And the biggest loss isn't so much the level of play because everyone's expected to perform. That's the whole next man up. But what needs to be great is the ability to communicate. And that has to accelerate. When one person's gone, the next person has to come in and elevate his ability to communicate so there's no hitch in the defense. And so when you're having all those little mixing and matching, especially between the two safeties and two linebackers, communication is where it hurts.
Do you feel the communication issues and the continuity issues are contributing to the tackling issues?
No, that part, we got to do a better job. I thought we did a much better job in the first half. We wore down, obviously, but it's on everyone's mind, and you can see the intent in the first half. The second half, I just felt like we were trying to go after the ball a little bit too much. And when you play a guy like Melvin Gordon, first guy's got to go and get the tackle. It's the second man that gets the ball. And when you watch a couple of those, Melvin just kept chugging, and he did a really good job as a back. But it was better, needs to get better still. But I do like where it's going.
I noticed the same drop-off, so is that a function of fatigue, do you think, or lack of concentration in the second half?
No, it's the run game. That's what makes the run game cool, right? When you're defending the run, that's why it's so important. If you let a back start churning and let him gain momentum, they're hard, especially a guy like Melvin who's got such great balance. And the run that triggered the whole thing was that first one where it looked like he broke 1 million tackles and almost did a somersault on one leg. That was a pretty cool run, but when you give a back confidence who's already good, it adds to it, and now you start trying to get the ball out as the defense. You just lose your fundamentals because you're trying to chase something else. And the main thing is to get him down the first time. First guy in, wrap up, like we talk about, step on his toes, take the grass, however you want to word it, but we can't allow these backs to gain momentum.
You mentioned wanting to be very aggressive against Rivers. Is that a product of maybe not getting as much as you want from the pass rush previously, or was that specific to just the game plan with Rivers?
It's just specific to the game plan with Rivers. Most teams play Rivers, who play Rivers are usually probably a little scared of his ability as a quarterback, and rightfully so. He's a Hall of Famer. And we felt like it was time to give him a changeup.
You traditionally don't blitz a whole lot. When you do, is there still kind of a feeling out process there on who's best at, best deployed where in that situation?
No, we're very comfortable. It's with who's pressuring, who's dropping, and all that stuff. But it's this whole league is based on explosive plays, and the elimination of explosives make offenses earn their paycheck. And yes, pressuring is awesome and at moments. But if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. If you continue to pressure and you continue to be aggressive, you're going to pay a price, and that's what happened on one of them. But at the same time, it gave us a lot of wins on third down early in the game and gave us a chance to jump 14-0. So had him on his heels for a little bit, and then we just had to continue to fight.
But what can you tell by watching a quarterback who made his first start against a defense that's similar to yours? Is there stuff that you can pick up, preparing for Josh Rosen, seeing how they attacked or tried to attack Seattle last week?
There's always stuff for sure that you can pick up, but every week's going to represent new wrinkles. I'm sure they're looking at what they put on tape too. So we're prepared to play our game and do the things that we do. As far as Rosen's concerned, he's got some tape on there. Obviously, it's not nearly as much as you'd like, but he's a very, very talented quarterback, incredibly accurate. And so I know their numbers on offense don't look as good as what people think it is, but if all you have to do is watch that tape from last week, and they probably should have had over 400 yards of offense and 28 points. And so we're excited for the challenge.
You mentioned continuity and communication like that, but how do you reconcile then doing your rotation at cornerback, or how do you balance that?
There is balance for sure. You don't just do it to do it for sure. That's not. It's well thought out during the week. Just like last week, the plan for Maben, he's deserved it. When you have a fighter like him and a competitor, and it goes across the entire board. These guys work their tails off to get a chance to shine, and as coaches, when you see a player fighting tooth and nail for that opportunity, they deserve it, and it's our job to make sure that they get that chance to show it. And so Maben went out there and he showed it. He played really, really well, forced a fumble on that whole series. Critical tackle, first play on a run fit, second play of that series caused a fumble. third play of the series, did a great job in communication to get the coverage rules down so we could get off the field. So he came on and did a really nice job, and so he's deserved the right to be part of the mix throughout the week.
With Akello, do you attribute maybe his slow start? I mean, I know you don't want to make excuses for him, but do you attribute it to the ankle, and I think he's got a hip injury too, or is it just sort of?
It could be. If it is, Akello's not talking about it. He's a very strong-minded player, and he's doing everything he can to prepare every week, and so he's. No one's down on Akello at all, because Maben went and played for Jimmy too. No one's down on Jimmy. It's more of a product of the fact that Maben has been playing very, very well, and he deserved a chance to shine.
Does the fact that Rosen played Seattle scheme last week, almost had a dry run for the scheme he's going to face this week, give him an advantage?
Always. You get a chance to play a scheme 2 days. He's got 2 consecutive weeks to prepare for us. With how accurate he is and all that stuff, yeah, it'll probably allow him to be a little bit more comfortable. But so again, it's excited for the challenge for him. So it's going to be cool because he is pretty good.
Where do things stand with
Julian Taylor progressing? Sorry.
And you're okay.
How's Julian Taylor progressing?
Julian's doing good. He's working his tail off. I actually just talked to him during walkthrough on what he needs to do to get just to get better. I'll leave it between him and I with respect, but he's moving in the right direction, and we're trying to find a way to get him up.
Same question. Same question for Peta T. Any chance that he gets moved up at some point?
Could. He's doing a great job too. It's just the amount of injuries that we have on our team right now. There's not much wiggle room to try to get people up.
Branch, last one.
This is a league-wide question, so it's not specific to the Niners, like make an excuse type thing. But I mean, across the NFL, there's a record. What am I trying to say? There's a record pace for scoring, for points, for passing touchdowns, for total touchdowns, etc. Do you think there's any connection to the new rules this year and the fact that offenses are going crazy?
You know, it's crazy, right? I mean, the amount of points and yards that are being put up are unbelievable. With as good and as bad as we've looked at times, and the offenses that we've played for the top 12 or whatever, to attribute it to rules. I don't know. I don't know if I want to attribute to that. I don't know if it's that or offenses being more creative. I know the quarterback play is getting a lot better, but the skill set is a lot better, and there's a lot of creativity in the league right now. So it's a challenge for sure, especially with some of the stuff that's showing up. But as far as the numbers go, that's a good question. I know I don't get a chance to see everything that's going on. I just know what's going on in our building. But it could be. I mean, it's the new rules with tackling. I'm not sure how much tackling has affected other buildings, but whether it's making guys a little bit timid or indecisive, it's a good question. I don't have an answer for that, though.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.